Hello friends, it's Meg, and today I want to share with you guys how I organize my life. Now, I did a video like this in the past on this channel, but I wanted to update it for the new school year, which is coming up for me, so here we are. Right off the bat, I want to say that I use a mixture of an analog and a digital system, and so if you want to find out how I used the two together, stick around until the end. Now, the very base of how I organize my life is using this, my bullet journal. I use the Leuchtturm 1917 journal in black. I recently got this journal for the start of the new school year, which is coming up for me at the end of October. I've created the spreads for next month so that I can share with you the blank spreads as they are, so they're not filled in or anything like that, but you can kind of get an idea of how I use my journal. So this is my monthly spread. As you can see, I have October at the very top, and right here is the calendar section. This is where I track all of the events that happened in the month, but after the fact. So for example, if I went to the library that day, I would write, I went to the library at the very end of the day. So it's a place where I track what actually did happen that day after the fact. So this right here is my mood tracker. I rank how I was feeling that day on a scale of 1 to 10, and I plot a point for that corresponding day, and then I get like a line graph, which is really cool to look at the end of the month. And this is the mind dump section, where I dump out all of my ideas and tasks that don't have a specific date or are like tasks that take up a longer period of time. And so I just dump them all in this section so that I don't forget about them, but I do have a place to store that information. And over here I have my goals, which I like to set goals at the beginning of the month. And the reflection section is where I kind of reflect on the goals and how much I was able to accomplish them, maybe if I need to adjust anything, just an overall like reflection of the month. And I like having these sections as a way to kind of look back at the month at the end of the month. This is what my daily spread looks like. I prefer writing everything down on a daily basis, not on a weekly basis, because I just find that the weekly format tends to overwhelm me a lot more just because there's so much information on one page. And so I prefer to do one day at a time. So at the top I have the date and the month and also what day of the week it is. I have a sun mark for tracking when I woke up that day, a moon mark for when I went to bed that day, and a day blank for what day of my period I'm on, like my period cycle, so that I can track that as well. And over here I have a timeline for the whole day. So I start at 6 a.m. and end at 10 p.m. This is where I track what happens actually in the day. So a big theme for my journal is to be able to track what actually happened that day, because I have a separate system for scheduling in events. And so this is not where I do that. This is where I track what I actually did that day so that I can get a good idea of how much I was actually able to do compared to how much I was planning to do, if that makes sense. And so this is where I track what I did that day, when I had lunch, when I was doing what task, all of that stuff on this side. And over here is where I write down all of my tasks for the day. And so they're usually not in any particular order, but I try to write down, you know, the one thing that I definitely want to get done that day at the very top, just so it's right there front and center. And I'll have a couple of tasks each day and I'll just go through them. And right here at the bottom, I have a section for notes. This is where I track if I took my ADHD medication, what time I took the ADHD medication, and any notes regarding the day and what happened that day, just to, you know, keep track of what happened and what I was thinking about. So this is really just like a notes section. So that's what I do on my bullet journal, is to keep track of all of my tasks and keep track of what I actually was able to do that day. I have a completely different system for keeping track of my schedule and events. This is because I just cannot keep track of all of the changes that happen to different events and things getting moved and things getting canceled and all of that stuff. I just can't keep track of that in an analog system. I just really can't. And so that's why I use and incorporate a digital system here, because I'm able to schedule things much easier and move things around. It's also very nice because sometimes I don't have my journal with me, but if I need to make a doctor's appointment or set up a time to meet up with friends, I have my phone on me at all times. And so if I need to schedule something, it's much easier for me to do that on my phone than to have to like pull out my journal, figure out what days and like what times I'm open and all of that stuff. So that's why I use a digital system for keeping track of my events and scheduling. Before we move into the next section, I just want to say if this video is giving you value, please leave a like and consider subscribing because I'm trying to reach 100 subscribers. So in terms of scheduling, I like to keep things pretty simple. I do a little bit of time blocking in my calendar, so that's why you'll see a lot of things on a daily basis, but it's not always this busy. It's just I block out time because I need a schedule for the day. And so for example, I have blue set to my university schedule, so like any of my courses, any of my exams, any of the breaks that I have, that's all in blue. Pink is pertaining to me, so any events that are, you know, personal events that are like meeting up with friends or doctor's appointments and stuff like that. It keeps track of my personal life. And the green is there for time blocking. So it, you know, gives me a block for lunchtime, dinner time, morning routines, nighttime routines, and all of that stuff. So that's kind of how I use my calendar. I try to block off times, especially during the breaks when I have less schedule and less structure in my day. I try to create a schedule for myself by time blocking. And I think this will especially be important for me going forward into the new school year because I will be juggling YouTube, being a student, and also being a part-time worker at a company. So I will need to schedule out my hours accordingly so that I am working enough hours and also, you know, putting in enough hours into my YouTube and also making sure that I study enough for the day and all of that stuff. So I think it'll be really important for me to time block. So yeah, that's how I organize my life. I hope this was helpful to you. If it was, please leave a like. It helps out a lot. And if you have any questions regarding my setup, whether that be the Google Calendar or my bullet journal, just leave a comment down below. I'll be sure to read it and get back to you. And if you're interested in content like this or you're interested in seeing my face again, please consider subscribing. I'm trying to hit 100 subscribers as soon as possible, and so it'll help out a lot if you can subscribe. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!